Hey everybody, it's Joshua Gaiman, 1 and 2, with joshuagaiman.com. If you're watching on YouTube, the link is below. Check out the blog, let me know what you think. Go to the Facebook page if you're on Facebook and we can interact there. Otherwise, let's keep it real here on YouTube. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, depending on if you like the video. Leave me your thoughts and your opinions. I wanted to do a follow-up to my video that I made on Friday about Occupy Wall Street. My video was very general, and basically all I said was that it's good that people are catching on to the corruption and greed that goes on along with money, and that finally something's being done about it. But the truth is, greed and corruption's been around since the beginning of time, and they're going to be around until the end of time. So I want to go a little bit more in-depth on Occupy Wall Street and what's going on. And I question Occupy Wall Street, what the real motive is. Seems to me a lot of people on Wall Street that are standing around are there because they're upset, but they're not necessarily maybe exactly sure what in particular they're upset about. You know, maybe they lost their job, maybe they lost their house, whatever. But why are they actually there? What are they trying to accomplish? I've heard things. Hang on, let me put Junior down here. I've heard things about Occupy Wall Street coming out and telling everybody to withdraw their money from big banks on November 5th, put it in credit unions, try to create like a little bank run on the banks. The extent it would cause, I really don't know. It just depends how many people were on board and how much money was withdrawn from the banking system to try and create that bank run and that hit on fractional reserve banking. But you know, to get into some other points here, it's very important to know what the motive is, what your motive is when you're going to try and do something. Baba, hi. It's very important to know what your motive is, what you're really trying to accomplish, and why you're trying to accomplish that. So with all the information out there, both good and bad, accurate and inaccurate, Fox, CNN, alternative media like YouTube, like this, there's good information, there's bad information. Some of it's right, some of it's wrong. It's all over the place. But you know, you just got to be careful. You got to verify what you hear, do your own research, and decide what you believe and what you stand for. It's really important when times are tough that you don't ask for handouts. Now, this is true on an individual level. This is true on a national level. Little Bubba here, he's 9 months old, and I'm already teaching him that life is not fair. Unfortunately, it's just not. Liz Ad Fuel made that point, and I agree with him 100%. It's just the way it is. It's the way it's been forever, and it's the way it'll always be. And you know, it's really important when times are tough that we don't just say, you know, everything's unfair and start looking for handouts. Every point in my life where I've been given a handout, I've looked back later and I've thought to myself, I'm probably weaker from that. Every point where I've hit a really hard spot in life and nobody was there to help me, sometimes I've put my head down, I'm not going to lie, but I've always picked it back up, marched forward, and become a better man and a better person for it, and have a better life for it in the long run. It's the way it works. So, you know, you can't just be mad about what's going on and look for a government handout. It leads to socialism. And a lot of the videos that I'm starting to see about Occupy Wall Street look a lot like socialism. And that's scary. And anytime things get tough, people do look to the government on a national scale. You know, I've been talking about this for a long time, and it's something I'm getting more and more concerned with stuff like this happening. Germany, you know, how do you think Adolf Hitler rose to power? The country was frickin' desperate. Socialism didn't sound too bad for them because they were going through a huge depression. Anyways, another point I want to make, there's all this talk about the 99% and the 1%. Who is the 1%? The guy that makes $2.5 million a year, the guy that makes $100 million a year, he's not the 1%. The 1%ers, they're trillionaires. They're central bankers. You know, I don't know exactly who these families are. Maybe it's the Rothschilds, the Warburgs, the Rockefellers. You know, I don't know, but it's not the guy that makes $5 million a year that owns a business that has 500 employees. That guy's helping the economy. If you tax him more, we're going to lose more of those 500 jobs that he's got out there. He's going to take his jobs overseas where they're cheaper and where he can save on taxes, and that's going to hurt the economy more. So it's just really important that we talk about who is the 1%. They're the elite. 1%, not the top 10%, the top 1%. Anyways, A lot of people, in my opinion, that are on Occupy Wall Street, some of the pension funds are actually getting behind this too. They're people that want to protect their retirements. Policemen, firemen, teachers, politicians. A lot of these people, they have pension funds, right? Automakers, unions. But pension funds are only good if the company that's issuing the pension fund, if they're receiving a certain rate of return. Silver Futurist went over this last week in his video. Basically, what it means is if the rate of return goes away, the pension fund checks can't come because there's no money. So just like the bailouts, they said, if we didn't bail out the automakers back in 2008, there's a lot of union workers that retired a long time ago that wouldn't be getting their pension checks anymore. There's no pension checks to send them. And I think a lot of pensions were lost when those bailouts happened. But anyways, my point being that there has to be a certain rate of return. So these banksters, they're obligated and they're under a lot of pressure to meet that return. So Silver Futurist made this point, if we get rid of all the bad banksters and we put angel bankers in there, they'd still have the same pressure to meet these returns. So, what do they do when those returns just aren't met? Usually if they print more money or there's bailouts, and really all it does is it pins the problem on the taxpayers' back. So it's so important that we're educating ourselves and really understanding how the system works, because the people that have set up the system use the fact that a lot of people are naive and ignorant, and they use that to their advantage to preserve the system and take it where they need it to go so that they can maintain power and gain more and more power. So anyways, I'm not saying I'm not for Occupy Wall Street. I'm simply saying that we really got to educate ourselves. We really got to seek good quality information, make decisions for ourselves on what we believe and what we stand for, like I said. And we can pull out of this. I believe the most important thing that we need to do is to take back control of our own money, and that doesn't start with bringing down these big corporations. Nationalizing corporations is not going to help anybody. It would hurt us big time. Socialism, communism have never worked, and it's not just because times are tough right now. It's really important that we don't look for handouts and look towards socialism or communism. We need to financially educate ourselves, and we can pull through this. And honestly, I believe that if we implemented real financial education into our schools and started teaching the difference between an asset and a liability and started teaching cash flow and basic things, people are smart, and I think that we could pull out of this. But, we really need to update our school system, especially when it comes to financial education, and be educating our children and really diving in and verifying facts and deciding what we believe and what is true from what's propaganda, what's false, and what's inaccurate. So anyways, I hope that makes you think at least a little bit. Leave your thoughts, and we'll talk to you soon.